Hey, episode 81, Heavy Metallurgy. Alan, hello. Welcome. Another Friday. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too, Marty. It is indeed Friday. Cheers to everybody starting to file into the chat. Hope everybody's had a decent week and is ready to just hang out for a couple of hours and talk about some fun heavy metal topics. I believe we've got more than just a couple of announcements to cover tonight, don't we, Marty?
We have a bunch. I'll wait for the really cool one until our guest gets here. And everybody, Jurgen is experiencing some technical issues. Hopefully he will be around to join us. But if not, we know how this works. We'll get it figured out. But there's a couple big things today. You'll all maybe notice that this is no longer the Marty Worm channel. This is long overdue. We've finally pulled the trigger. I figured out how to do it. I switched the name. This is a Heavy Metallurgy channel now. This is a much better format than what I was prattling along with all those years, just holding up CDs and talking about them. Much better now, and we've got some plans we're going to start trying to iron out between now and next year. Hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more of us around these parts. Would you agree with that, Alan?
Yeah, we got some different ideas of things that we are hoping to implement in the not too distant future. It'll be a little here and a little there, but yeah, it should be changes that folks will enjoy and just make the overall content more fun, add some more different options for things as well, and just give more fun stuff for people to enjoy and participate in along the way.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. This has been a lot of fun. This channel's been a great experience, and I think we're both really looking forward to seeing it hopefully grow and continue turning people on to some music. But one of the big things today, the big release, is this. If I can show this.
There it is. Very nice.
Necromantical Streams, the second shirt design for Heavy Metallurgy. There's a sleeve print too, as always. Our friend Justin from Vesteban's Blood Box and Vesteban Comics designed the image for us, drew the image for us. And the link's in the description if you want to buy one. I'm going to eventually, people in that little survey we did, people seem to want to do us to do hoodies. So I've got two cool designs that I will eventually get hoodies for. I just wanted to get this done and get it rolling. So it's getting to be the cool time of year, and hoodies are definitely in season right now. As some of you, I know we're getting dumped down with snow up here. I hear Buffalo right now has got 4 feet of snow already.
Ouch.
They're expecting to get 5 to 6 feet, which is insane. So, hey, maybe a little hoodie will help somebody out in need under a snowdrift. But yeah, everybody, check it out. I'll show it one more time here, and I'll let you go forth and purchase one if you want.
Yeah, Justin did an awesome job with the design. We just gave him sort of a rough idea for it, and he really brought it to life very nicely. So awesome job, and props to Justin.
Props to Justin for sure. We're going to be getting him on here soon. It's been long overdue for him for sure.
Yeah, there's been issues in the past, I think, but hopefully we get around that at some point.
Yes, indeed. And before, you know what today is, Alan?
What is today, Marty?
Today is November 18th. And you know what happened on November 18th, 37 years ago? Today?
An angel got its wings?
Sort of.
Taylor Swift was born?
This album was released upon Mankind.
Oh, that's
today.
Right. Okay.
37 years ago.
I did not know that.
Walls of Jericho. I was hoping
your steel is more true than mine, sir.
But you don't have social media, and a lot of people were posting about this. I didn't have a clue either, but I was kind of surprised today that it was actually today is the actual date. So cheers to one of the best speed metal / power metal albums ever made. Walls of Jericho, Halloween, set in motion a very amazing career. But yeah, so everybody go check out some Walls of Jericho today in celebration for 37 years. Oh my God. What happened? What happened? Is there any? Oh, yeah, some people.
Time marches, Marty.
Yeah,
Time marches.
time marches on and on. What else do we need to? A little bit more house cleaning. People ask how they can support the channel. Well, you can either buy a new shirt, which would be killer, or we also have super chats available. All that money is going to upgrading equipment. So hopefully we'll start looking a little bit sexier for everybody to look at. Better cameras and mics and
How am I going to look more sexy than this?
I know.
Damn.
Maybe we can get you a camera that makes you look less sexy. That would probably be fine. Then I can hang.
I don't know if you can you really downgrade all of this. I mean, you know, I don't know. You're asking a lot, sir. You're asking a lot.
You can't turn it off. It's always on. It's always on.
What can I say?
Yeah, we could have made the whole episode today just talking about Walls of Jericho and how awesome it is, but we won't do that.
We could, but we have something else in store for this evening. We'll have to keep that one in mind maybe for another time.
Yeah.
The 37th and a half anniversary.
Right. So yeah, is there anything you want to add before we jump in? I'd hate to jump in without Jurgen, but he's scrambling. His phone wasn't working all that great, so he's trying to get his laptop up and running. So
yeah, he's had some camera issues and some lag issues, but I guess we can start. Did you want to mention anything else about other stuff up on Bindrune currently?
Oh, look at this. Look at this. He got it working.
Does it work out now?
It's working.
So far, so good.
Does it look good?
It looks good.
Does it sound good?
Better than the other one did. The other one is better than what was going on. But Jurgen, did you know that today was the anniversary for this album? 37 years today.
No, I didn't. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know what you're doing tonight after the stream?
I'm celebrating right now.
Hell yeah, me too.
I'm celebrating that the shit is working out finally.
And this leads in perfectly the fact that you fixed your laptop. And let's talk about your channel. It's just recently underwent a metamorphosis. What's going on over there in Germany, my friend? What is happening?
I don't know. That's just my stupidity. I woke up. I decided to erase all my old videos. And I wanted to erase my channel completely. But the next day I woke up and had an idea for a video series that I'm doing right now. So
yeah, he went from sporadic videos to a video every day for 30 days. So it worked out for us. He's showing some really killer thrash albums here. And we're what, day 18 now?
Yeah, day 18, yeah.
Yeah.
just call it a midlife crisis. I don't know.
No, sometimes I mean, like I said, we changed the name last night. So it's sometimes time for a change. But,
yeah, sometimes it is. Yeah. Free editing software.
Your opening is pretty cool. Yeah, he's like a editing genius now. If you need your videos edited, hook up Bert there. Bert will, our old buddy Bert will get you set straight for sure.
Yeah. Yes, I have some free software on my laptop, and I just tried it out in a nightly action. Let's put it that way. Marty knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. It's been pretty incredible to go from a wiped out channel to all these fucking George Lucas effects. It's amazing. It's amazing. But here we are. Jurgen, we're doing what's spinning. I know that might not be the most inspired discussion, but you know what? They're fun. It's good to share with what we've been listening to with people, talk about it a little bit, and people seem to like it too. So you want to get started? We might as well get started, unless there's something you want to add maybe before we jump in.
No, nothing special. I have to just calm down a little bit because I went upstairs and downstairs and got the laptop from my beloved girlfriend.
Oh, right on. So you didn't fix your shit. I was giving you more credit than it was what was due.
Okay, I can start. I keep the first couple short because it's a metal show, but I didn't just listen to metal.
That's quite okay.
Return to Forever, Chick Corea. I'm getting deep into the realms of jazz and fusion rock.
Right on.
These are just a couple. This is by no means any metal, but it's just great musicianship.
Sure. Oh yeah.
So it's instrumental, it's jazzy, it's fusion jazz. Another one. I bought that one. This is Carmen. Carmen is the name of my girlfriend, and I saw this record for €2, and I wanted to give it to her.
Nice.
And I listened to it, and it's Spanish inspired rock music, and I loved it so much, so I kept it for myself.
She knows where to find it. She knows where to find it.
She knows where to find it. Yeah.
Yep.
We have two separated record collections. My girlfriend has a record collection as well.
Is it as mighty as yours?
No.
Right.
That would add up to 10,000 records in my home. No, so no.
It's a good place to be, though. Bring on the quarantine again. You wouldn't have to leave. Just sit and listen to records. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's good to see you, Jurgen. I'm glad everything got worked out there. And we're going to jump into the professor here and see what he's got.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone locally has been dumping off a ton of extreme metal CDs, Black Death, all kinds of Death Doom stuff. And they seem to be doing it like one pile of CDs every couple of weeks. So the guys at the local used store basically like check in with us about once a week because we've got a backlog trying to get this stuff on the shelves.
Ah, right.
So every time I'm going in, they've got more and more stuff. I've picked up, 8 or 10 discs so far, and only have played a couple of them, so they'll be in the list tonight. This is a band that I've heard the name for years, had just never picked anything up, but Mike Seatown had recommended them a while back, so they'd been on my mind. They had some Alcest in the used pile. This is their second one. It's of course in French, but Escales de Lune from 2010. I guess this is kind of the one where they started to really codify their sound with the post black metal stuff. Had not heard anything by the band at all, so this was sort of a blind buy, but actually pretty good. I kind of like the style. It's, the black metal sections are good. The post rock sections are also nice, and they meld the two pretty well together. Again, a lot of times, I have trouble wrapping my head around albums that have lyrics in other languages, but yeah, the French works quite well for this style of music. It flows pretty naturally that way. So yeah, I've actually been spinning this one quite a bit, with a little bit of a CD backlog. I was thinking, okay, let's just put it on, see if it's crap, I'll get rid of it and move on to the next one. But no, it stayed in the CD player for the better part of the past couple of weeks. So kind of cool. They have at least one more Alcest album on the shelf, and I'm hoping it'll still be there next time I swing through. If so, I'll pick that one up as well. Again, didn't really have any experience with the band, and I don't know much about this genre, the sort of shoegaze black metal stuff. I've heard a little bit here and a little bit there. Some of it I've liked more than others, but yeah, Alcest seems to be quite good at it. So that is my first one for the night.
All right.
I just wanted to say I tried one or two of their albums, and they were too shoegazy for me.
I could see, well, yeah, for some folks that's not going to interest them because of that. For me, so far, it's got a good balance, but yes, it's definitely on the lighter side of the spectrum. More emphasis on the shoegaze than the black metal for sure.
Okay.
I also wanted to acknowledge Tom here for the $5 while we were offline. Thank you so much, Tom. It was very, very nice of you. Appreciate it, of course. New Queensryche, haven't heard it yet. Have you guys checked it out? I'm sure it's decent. The two I've heard with the new guy, it's okay. He's good. I don't know.
I've heard a little bit of it, and it sounded decent on first impression. I've meant to go back and play it and just haven't had time.
The 3 albums they did with Todd, they are quite good. Yeah. But I haven't heard the new one.
Get around to that for sure. Okay. This one is kind of pointed at Alan a little bit. I was spinning this, turned the kid onto this one a little bit more. He hasn't spent as much time with this as the other ones, but I've been kind of on a Time of the Oath kick by Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was maybe Alan that was saying that this one was not that great for him.
No,
Is that
that
true?
one's pretty solid.
Okay, because I was going to say, as I was listening to it the other day, I'm like, how can he not like this? We Burn, Steel Tormentor, Wake Up the Mountain, what a great song.
Mm-hmm. No,
Power.
that one's
Even
got
the
that's got a
ballad
good lyric.
is good. Before the War. I mean, this is a banger. I mean, it kind of, Anything My Mama Don't Like is not a great song, but it's
That's
still
the
fun.
clunker.
It's a fun one, though. It's still a fun song. It's not a bad song. It's just goofy.
Yeah,
But they're
I don't
good
know.
at that.
It's getting pretty bad.
But the kid loves this. I got him turned around on, and he's also starting to spin the Keepers albums too. So it's almost complete. I just need to get him onto Walls of Jericho, and then the circle will then finally be complete. But yeah, I've been spinning that one a lot with the kid lately, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm so glad he's connecting with some of this in some way.
Yep.
So someday when I'm dead and gone, at least I know the Halloween collection will go with him, and the rest can go to Goodwill or in the garbage, whatever. I don't care at that point. But yeah, Jurgen, you're up.
Okay, I've got some non-metal, but let's do this one first. I got the new Sodom Best Of. These are re-recordings. When I read about it first, I didn't want to buy it because I thought, why a best of? And then I realized these are all re-recordings. So they re-recorded one track of each album they did with the new lineup, and they did not choose the obvious songs. So, for example, they play Sepulchral Voice from the mini LP, from the first mini LP. After the Deluge, Electrocution, Baptism of Fire, so not the obvious stuff. And this one is really, really good. The sound is awesome. It's natural. I bought the box set because
That's
it has
killer cover art. I love the cover.
Yeah. And the box set comes with a double LP tape that has one bonus track, a double CD, a book, stuff like that. I'm not going to unpack it now. And it was only 60 euros, so euro and the US dollar are on par right now.
Yep.
So $60 for it.
Nice. Worth it. Very cool.
Definitely worth it, yeah.
I even kind of like that when they got back together with Chris Witchhunter and they redid a bunch of songs. It was sloppy and really terrible, but there was still something about it. The charm of the old school was there because, that was kind of sloppy too back in the day, but it was sloppy now for a different reason. Obviously, the guy was sick and he didn't have the chops anymore, but I still listened to it a few times. I enjoyed it when I spun it. Of course, it's good quality material. I mean, that's one thing, but.
Have you heard about the story of the re-recordings they did with Witchhunter? They had to expand at least the drum recordings over a month because he could play about 10 minutes, something like that, and then he broke down. So they had to cut and paste everything together.
Oh my God.
This record sounds a little bit strange.
It's clunky. It's really clunky, but the charm's still there. He's one of those guys that he hit a certain, he's kind of like Ace Frehley. He hit a certain level and never really kind of progressed beyond it. You know what I mean? Like where Ventor, he's always been, he might've been a little clunky at the beginning, but he turned out to be a really good drummer. It just happens if you play your instrument a lot. And Chris, I think, decided just to drink himself away, which is a bummer.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And when they re-recorded that stuff, when he went to a bar, he said he is the new Sodom drummer, even though Angel Ripper made it clear that he's only playing on this record. So,
right.
Yeah.
Ugh. What a shitty situation.
Alcohol is a sickness.
It is a sickness. Cheers. Yes. But it's delicious. Anyway, Alan, you're up.
All right. One other that has come out of the collection that somebody's selling off so far, and this was also a blind buy for me, but the most recent Rotting Christ album, Heretics. I remember when this came out in 2019. It got some decent reviews. I want to say it was Matt over at the Dark Path that talked this album up a little bit. I may be wrong about that. It's been a few years back. So I had kind of cataloged it in the back of my mind to, again, if it pops up on YouTube someday, check it out. It's a band that I liked in the past, but I just lost track of them over time. By the time they got to stuff like A Dead Poem and such, I wasn't as interested in what they were doing, so they just fell off my radar. So, yeah, I never had any intention of like tracking this down to order it or anything, but when it's sitting in the used bin for $8, yeah, absolutely. I'll take a chance on that. And it's got a pretty cool sound. It wasn't at all what I expected. I don't really know what I did expect from it, but the music is very kind of grandiose. They're using like a lot of chanting in the background. The music, the beats and stuff have a little bit of a kind of militaristic marching vibe to it. So it reminds me a little bit of Samael's early material for some of the musical inspiration. It's pretty good. Parts of it are quite heavy. It is get a little repetitive with the tracks. There's not a ton of lyrics, and a lot of the lyrics are like just quotations that are being read, snippets of poetry and philosophy, things that are kind of up with yourself, down with religion, stuff you'd expect from Rotting Christ. But it all works together pretty well. It's actually a pretty fun album to listen to. It's got just the right kind of pompous bombast without going too over the top or getting too cheesy. So yeah, it's actually a pretty cool sound. Apparently it's a bit heavier than the past few albums they had done, which again I'm not familiar with, but I might look into to see if they're in the same ballpark, because I am enjoying the Heretics quite a bit. So yeah, a fun blind buy that worked out in my favor on this one.
I'm glad you like that one. I struggled with it. I initially thought it was pretty decent, but there's like Frosty said, a lot of chanting on it. You can tell his voice is kind of wrecked, so he's kind of changing it up and doing the more spoken word, stately chanting and monk type stuff. But it was okay. It's not gonna take me away from the old ones, but it was decent. It was a decent record.
Yeah. It's pretty different from the old ones. It's got its own identity at this point. They're not doing the same kind of thing really that they were doing back on non-Servium or Triarchy or any of that stuff. So yeah, I'll be interested to see if it holds up and keeps getting listens, or maybe it's one of those things that goes on the shelf and just never comes back off. But yeah, with the chanting stuff, I was wondering a little bit if maybe there was a little bit of the popularity of Batushka had kind of got under their skin a bit. It's like, hey, we could do that too.
Yeah.
We're familiar with Eastern Orthodox kind of stuff over here in the Mediterranean, so maybe there's a component to that. It's done differently. It doesn't sound exactly like Batushka, but I've seen that kind of worked into a couple of the reviews I read since I picked it up. It's like, well, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, regardless, it's got a pretty cool, unique sound to it.
Definitely very cinematic.
Yeah, very, very big, kind of going for the big, impressive kind of sound, and does it pretty well. But still sounds pretty heavy, which I like too. It's not airy like some soundtrack music. It's still got a lot of weight to it.
Well, mine's kind of on the other side of the spectrum, but I put this on a month or so ago, and I just can't seem to quite let it go yet. I don't know. Def Leppard's Pyromania. I've been listening to this a lot more than I care to admit. But it's a fun record, man. Billy's Got a Gun, my favorite song on the album, but I like the whole album, even the hits. The hits that I'm pretty much sick of at this point. Just love the big atmosphere, huge sounding Mutt Lange production. Good songs. It's just a good band. No one really sounded like them, and I respect that. They kept it really commercial and heavy, and this was where they started. This was the shift from the early years to this is where things started to get a lot more poppy as they went. But even some of those records are okay too. I've shown this a lot here in the last couple of months, it seems like, but like I said, I've been listening to it a lot. can't let it
Yeah.
go for some reason.
Yeah, I've been reading a little bit about their early history in a new wave of British heavy metal book that just came out, and
How's that been?
it's interesting. It's kind of a strange read in some ways. The Def Leppard section was interesting because they talked a lot about like when they switched management and such, that they had a very distinct goal for that band to, we're going to come in and we're going to mess with your sound and your look a little bit because we think you've got a lot of potential to break America if you want to come work with us. And obviously the band felt like, yeah, that sounds like a good thing. Let's do that. And apparently it worked out pretty well for them. But yeah, they've been a band that's always been quick to distance themselves from the new wave of British heavy metal, despite that, undoubtedly being where they got their first breaks and kind of got on the radar. But they just, very quickly moved on from that once they had a change in management who had sort of a, more of a big picture, global goal for them rather than just stomping around Britain playing with all the other bands that were coming up at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll talk about the book. I'm not even halfway through it yet, so I'm sure I'll discuss the book at some future time once I've gotten through it. But there's a lot of information in it. It's kind of a choppy read the way it's all put together, though.
Jurgen, do you like Trader?
German Thrashers Trader. Yeah, I've seen them a couple of times live years ago, and they are fantastic live bands. I do like the records, but they are getting boring with time. So I never managed to work my way through a whole record at once.
Huh.
But a great live band, yeah.
Sweet. Okay, well, you're up.
Okay, I pulled a couple of older death metal albums. Chaos Breed, Brutal. Has someone of you heard that one?
Yep. Wait, I've got the EP. That's the full length, right?
That's the full length. Yeah, they've got a 4-track EP before that.
I've got
So
the EP.
that is Isa from Amorphis and Taneli Yarva from
Sentenced and Black League. Yep.
Yeah, that is the actual CD cover. The vinyl version looks like that. I think it's a fantastic album. They I don't know. They have an old school sound, a little bit like Autopsy with Taneli singing. So
Nice.
I love that stuff.
Oh, it's and Jarva's vocals are great. No matter what he's doing, he's great.
Yeah.
All right, I guess Alan's back. Wait, yeah, I did Def Leppard. There you go.
Okay, Marty, I know you've just picked this one up, but I don't know if you've played it yet or not. Picked up new Autopsy a few weeks ago. I've spun it a few times. I heard some clips of it before picking it up. Sounded pretty good, and I knew the local store would get it in after a week or so. So I've played it a few times. It's not bad, but it has not blown me away on first impression, at least. And I can't really put my finger on why. It sounds pretty good. It's what you'd more or less expect from an Autopsy record, but I don't know. I played it a few times, and it was one that's like, okay, I'm just going to set that aside and move on to other stuff now. I'm going to circle back and give it some more spins, but yeah, right now it's kind of I don't know. It just feels kind of it's like, okay, that was an Autopsy record, and it hasn't left a big impression. It's not a negative impression, to be very clear. It just based on the first few clips I heard online, I was like, that sounds pretty good. I thought it a bit more of an impact, and so far it's a kind of a very, very average feeling at this point. Have y'all checked this one out yet?
Yeah, I bought it as well.
Okay, what do y'all think of it?
I think it's not bad, but like you said, a little bit average. The last couple of albums, they are not bad by any means, but when I want to listen to Autopsy, I always go back to the first two.
Mm-hmm.
I've got all of their records, including the live record they've done, all the EPs and stuff, but that's just me because I'm a completist.
Yeah. I I like it. In fact,
That's
I
cool.
don't know if I had the last one. What is the last one? The hacksaw one where the guy's cutting his arm off. I don't own that one. But I like this. This thing puts me in mind of the older stuff. The older stuff is better material, but it just has, even with the new bass player, it just has that stoner rock meets death metal vibe that Autopsy does so well. And it's just, there's some riffs that come in. They're just sick, just super sick. Eric Cutler's guitar playing is very distinct. It's very much Autopsy. I don't know. I've been spinning it quite a bit. I really enjoy it. I
That's
know
cool.
I've a few modern holes I need to fill of these guys, but I should have bought the vinyl, but I didn't. I went with this. I'm happy with it. It's good. I like it.
Okay. I may just need to spin it some more, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, Lazarus, good to see you. Enjoyed your recent Grail video, Laz. That was really cool. Congrats on picking that up.
I missed the Grail one. Damn it.
He picked up a really, really cool item for his collection. If folks have not watched that video, they should go check it out.
Right on.
I'm not going to spoil what it is. You got to go watch the video to find out.
Yeah. All right. I realized as I was cleaning the office the other day, I bought this when it came out because the YouTube hype kind of blew up for this record. Benediction Scriptures.
Mhm.
I like early Benediction. My favorite of theirs is Transcend the Rubicon. After that, there's a lot of misses in their catalog as far as I'm concerned. But this is good. It's got oh my god. Fuck. I'm not rebuying it. I don't want to scratch it. Why in the hell can I suddenly? Oh yeah, Dave Ingram. Dave Ingram's back on vocals. I mean, the songs are good. It sounds good. These guys have got just kind of a so-so attack on death metal for me. It's solid. It's old school, but I don't know. Just some of the things they do are a little lackluster to me. I don't know what it is. Like I said, Transcend the Rubicon is their best. That was a great album. And the one with Barney singing too, I like. But this is okay. I keep going back to it thinking it's going to really, the light switch is going to go on, but it's one of those albums that came out in the VC and everybody shows it and say how much they loved it, and then it was like done in a month and no one ever talks about it again. So I don't know why I bought it, but I did. What did you get that? You guys picked that one up?
I did buy it, listened to it a couple of times, and then sold it again.
Yeah, it's just
it's a little bit the same as Autopsy. When I want to listen to Benediction, I always go back to their early stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
The first 3 albums and the EPs in between, perfect stuff. But after that, no, not really.
Yeah.
Not bad, but
yeah, I don't mind Benediction. To me, they always feel like the B student in the class. You know, they're not bad, but they're never the one that that's going to pop to mind, or that you're going to call on when you need something. There's always going to be another death metal album that is like, I could listen to Benediction, or I could listen to that one instead, and they always get passed over.
I mean, I
but
understand.
They're not bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, I understand you're excited to get a new record by an old band, and Simon's right. There wasn't not a bad description. A lot of people, I was shocked at how many people were praising that record. I thought, and I caught the video and I'm like, yeah, this is a decent song. It sounds good. And it just doesn't have the staying power. Anyway, Jurgen, you are back.
The album is a little bit samey when you
very
listen.
samey.
Yeah.
That's kind of been their thing. They've always kind of had that. Their stuff's a little samey. All right.
Yeah. I recently pulled out 2 of my favorite Swedish death metal albums.
Fun.
Hypocrisy's
Great.
3rd album. Yeah. And Abducted. Abducted is such a killer record.
That's my favorite. It's such a good record.
The 2 albums that came before they are okay. The stuff they did after Abducted, not so much anymore. I've listened to their whole discography, and their newer stuff is a little bit of hit and miss for me. But Abducted, I had to get that on vinyl, and I was stupid enough to pay $150 for it.
Woof. I've never
Really?
seen either of those on vinyl other than you holding them up right now. In a store, never. I've only seen the CDs here in the US.
I bought that one when it came out. I had Abducted for, when did it come out? It come out 95. But last month I decided I need to have it on wax.
Right.
Yeah, stupid enough.
Well, you've got it now. You got it and it's yours.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it can gather dust on the shelf.
Yep. That's what they do.
That's what we do.
All right. Alan.
All right. Well, I've also had some non-metal in rotation here and there. This was an album I had at one point, and I do not know what went with it. If I loaned it to somebody and never got it back, I can't imagine I actually traded it or sold it because it's an old favorite. It's an Australian band called The Church, and this is probably their best known album called Starfish. If you're not familiar with them, you can tell by the cover. This is kind of late 80s, AOR pop stuff. AOR is not a good label for it, but they started out as something with the new wave indie rock movement in the early 80s. They're sometimes put in with like post-rock stuff. A very good lineup of musicians. They're excellent songwriters. They've been around for decades now. They always have a great reputation live when they get out and play. And I've picked up several of their albums just here and there over the years. And there's almost always, a bunch of tracks worth hearing, even on the albums that aren't so good. But yeah, this was the one that kind of got them a little bit of fame. Under the Milky Way was the track that became a bit of a hit single for them. Yep. It's got a bagpipe section in it that's kind of anthemic. But yeah, they just have this very cool kind of laid back sound. The lyrics often can have a slightly sad or dark tone to them, but the guy's got a very warm, very good voice. So it's the kind of thing you can listen to and it can sound pleasant. And then if you're paying more attention to the lyrics, it can sound kind of sad or, it's not creepy or weird or anything, but yeah, it can just have a little bit of that, a little morose undercurrent to it at times. Guitar work is good. The bass work is good. They can just be very bright and dazzling sounding. They can be very subdued. So yeah, a very kind of understated and underappreciated band. And I realized a while back this just wasn't on the shelf anymore. So it's the kind of album. It's not hard to find. It's not expensive. Poked around in the used bins at a couple of places, and there it was for $5. It's like, all right, I don't know where the other copy went, but let's get that one back on the shelf. So it's not a band that I listen to a ton, but when I'm in the mood for it, yeah, I'll spend a few days breaking out a couple of different albums by The Church, and I always enjoy going back. And there's still a bunch of their albums I haven't heard, which is fun. Every now and then I can find a different one at like a used bookstore and be like, oh, well, yeah, let's give that a chance. They're never very expensive, and there's always something cool to hear.
And they're Australian, so I think Simon was either in that band or he roadied for him, I think. He knows
Probably
everybody.
His next door neighbor, because all Australians know all other Australians.
They do. It's a thing. It's a phenomenon.
Yeah, it's because it's a small country.
Yep.
As opposed to a big country, but that's more like, a Scottish kind of thing.
All right. We're still kind of rolling on the new stuff here. I went to a record store this past week and picked up a few things used. I got this for $5.99, the new Razor. Cycle of Contempt. Man, I don't know on this one yet. I don't know. It's okay. It seems very long, and every song is about how they're going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
It is. Every single one.
That's a lot of ass kicking.
There's a lot of ass kicking going on here. All fist fighting, punch your face in, king shit, first rate hate, cycle of contempt. I mean, every single song is about fighting or beating somebody up. It's okay. It's okay. It's good guitar work. It's sharp thrash. Doesn't have the charm of their old stuff. It just doesn't. it sucks to say that because this is another one everybody's ranting and raving about, and it doesn't suck. It's good. It's just pretty dimensionless to me. I mean, Razor was never, the fine art of finesse, but this is. I need to spend some more time with it. I don't know. I'm just kind of surprised. Anyway, what do you guys think? Yep, Jurgen's got the tape. What'd you think of it?
Thanks, Darcy, because he sent me that tape.
Yep,
nice,
straight from Canada. What always bugged me about the newer Razor stuff is the boring drumming, because it's just straightforward. It's a little bit like Bill Andrews on Leprosy, just hacking through one beat.
Tick. Yeah. Yep.
And the last couple of Razor LPs, I suppose that's a drum computer. I can't really tell, but sounds a little bit like a drum machine.
Right. Razor isn't what they used to be. I agree, Robert.
Yeah. I have not heard the new one. I haven't avoided it, but it hasn't shown up in any of the local stores. And I haven't heard anybody really shit on it, but I haven't heard a lot of people going nuts for it either. People were excited to hear it, and then it was just kind of nobody followed up on it much. So yeah, maybe one of those. I'll have to wait till it shows up for $5.99 in the used bin too before giving it a chance.
So yeah, just don't tell everybody here. Don't tell anybody in the band that I'm not sure if I like it or not, because I don't want to get my ass beat. Anyway, Jurgen, you're up.
Okay, lately I've been listening to a lot of prog rock as well, especially German stuff. So let's get through that very quickly. Gomorrah, old 70s stuff from Germany. Guru with the album Hinten, which means backside, as you can see on the cover. Jane, all that stuff is German. You call it krautrock, I call it German progressive rock.
Right.
Stuff like that. So
okay.
Yeah. On to the metal stuff again. That's another one Darcy sent me. I always loved that live album. Have you ever heard it?
I've heard. I had it on CD a long time ago. I got rid of it. It was good though. I never listened to it, so I gave it away.
Really, really nice tape. And Darcy was kind enough to send me a copy.
That Darcy's a nice guy. We have to keep him around.
Yeah. So
just what every heavy metal headbanger wants to be referred to as. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Your steel is true, Darcy. I got your back, Darcy.
Right.
There, Jurgen's got it. Jurgen's got it. Marty, he's such a nice boy.
He's such a nice boy. Yeah. Such a good Canadian, eh? Never goes outside without his toque on. You know what I mean? All right, Alan.
All right. I'm just kind of back and forth on different styles lately, it seems. I've been playing this one for the first time in a long time. Oh, thank you, Darren. That's really nice, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Darren. Appreciate it.
Very, very cool of you. Broke out Bathory's The Return for the first time in ages. Hadn't avoided it for any reason, just hadn't made it back into rotation, but recently this was the time. Yeah, early Bathory is a strange thing. This one has more of the Venom influence still in it than I remembered. In my head, the first album was loaded with a lot of Venom worship, and this album had less of it, but replaying this, it's like, there's still a pretty good dose of Venom mixed in there. But yeah, good album. Maybe the songs can run together a little bit at times on here, but there's still some excellent tracks. Born for Burning has always been my favorite off of it. The title track, of course, is great as well. But yeah, an album that sometimes gets a little overlooked in their catalog, perhaps, but it's one I've always liked, maybe more than some other folks have. Just hadn't given it any spins lately. So where do you guys put The Return in the Bathory pantheon?
Poses.
Witching hour.
It's of the first three, I like it the least. It would be my number 3 in that line.
Mhm.
Under the Sign of the Black Mark is his best black metal album. I really like the Motorhead feel of and the Venom shit going on the first one. That one is just so raw and odd.
Mhm.
It's just weird. It's a weird album. The way he sings, it's evil. It's cool because of it's so unique, but I just never want to listen to it for some reason. What do you think, Jurgen?
I love the title track, The Return of Darkness and Evil.
That's a good song.
Actually, the demo version of that song that appeared on the compilation, what is it called? Scandinavian
Metal Attack.
Scandinavian Metal Attack.
Metal Attack. Yeah. I think the demo version of that song is way better because it sounds more like Motorhead meets Venom.
That must have been a leftover track from the first album. He didn't finally finished up for the second.
Something like that. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. Out of the first three, it's my least favorite as well.
Yep. All three of those are good. Under the Sign is probably the one I've played the least. Not for any particular reason. And again, it's been a while since I revisited any of them. But yeah, I can get behind any of those. I'm not going to choose one tonight. Maybe we'll save that for another night when we get to some Bathory conversation in the maybe sometime in 2023.
Yep, it's coming for sure.
Yep. All right, Marty, what have you got coming next?
What were you gonna say, Jurgen?
Oh, sorry.
The last Bathory interview I read about 10 or 12 years ago, just shortly before he died, he said there are no electric guitars on Under the Sign of the Black Mark. That's all just keyboards. But I don't know if I can trust him on that because
he lied about everything.
Yeah, he had an odd character. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, that can't be right. There's no way that's right. Listen to it. It's guitars.
Yeah. At least it sounds like guitars.
Yeah, he's such an enigma. He was just into throwing people off on everything,
Yeah.
Which you're the only guy in the band you can get away with it, I guess. But okay, I need to duck for this because Jurgen's going to throw shit at me. But man, this is another band that I just can't seem to quit.
Kiss. It's Kiss.
Nope, it's not Kiss.
Rat.
Orden Ogen.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
I told you. This is the German.
That's another guest you've cost us, man.
I know. I just can't be stopped. This is like the German Sabaton. It's that same type of pop metal that's so widespread in Europe. But man, this guy, I mean, it's a band, but the main guy writes all the shit. This guy. He's just got he's got a good formula and he's got a good voice. He writes catchy fucking riffs. It's that earworm hook. It gets in there and I can't fucking stop. I mean, I like most of his stuff. And this is a good one. To the End is my favorite by these guys, but Gunman's fun. It's good. There's catchy songs on it and don't expect anything. If you're sympathetic towards the pop metal stuff that goes on in Europe and is huge in Europe, you're going to like it because it's not bad for that. But if you hate that shit, I get it. I'm not going to sell you on it for sure. And I'm sure Jurgen has seen so many of these bands live on all the festivals he's been to. The last thing he wants to do is sit and watch some fat guy in America talk about how much he likes them. But there you go.
We actually played a couple of shows with them. They are nice guys, and Sebastian is a great character, and he's an awesome songwriter.
He's a good songwriter. His shit's
just not my kind of music, so
it's metal schlock, right? But I dig it. I just have it's an earworm. It's earworm metal for sure. Jurgen, what do you have?
Let's stay in Sweden for a while. I pulled out this one, Crimson 1 and 2 on Black Wax.
Nice.
Crimson 1 is a perfect album for me.
Masterpiece.
I just love it. I've seen them on that tour. Of course, they didn't play the 40-minute piece. So
I interviewed Dan on the phone for that album to a promo cycle, and what a nice guy. He was
yeah,
super nice dude.
he lives in Germany now. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, right on.
Yeah. I've been in contact with his girlfriend.
Right on.
So Crimson One, just a perfect death metal album. It never gets boring, although it's one track that's 40 minutes long.
Yep.
But if you want to get it on vinyl, like I said, it's one piece when you have the CD.
Yep.
But there are vinyl pressings. Most of the vinyl pressings are colored vinyl, and they fade in and fade out between the different parts, which is odd. I had a copy of that and immediately sold it and went to hunt down this black vinyl version because it's the song running through without fade-ins and fade-outs.
I think mine's the black version too. I don't know. I haven't spun the vinyl in a while, but the CD gets played. That's kind of the way I like spinning that one. Just it's good to not have to flip or do anything with it. It's so good, so perfect. Kind of one of the best things he ever wrote, really.
Yeah,
Kinda,
it is.
He nailed it. The planets were in alignment on that one.
He had a great 3-album run with the Spectral Sorrows,
Oh yeah.
Purgatory Afterglow, and Crimson.
I like Unorthodox a lot too. That was the first album I ever got by them. I loved it. Of course, I was a lot younger too, but I loved that record. I listened to the shit out of it.
I like it, but it's not on par with the other 3, at least for me.
No, they definitely evolved a lot. Very good. All right, Alan.
All right, Queensryche has come up a couple of times. I haven't gotten the new one. I did recently pick this up here in the New Frontier. Had never picked up the album. I had heard it back in the day, did not care for it, but found it cheap and figured I'd give it another chance. I should not have given this another chance. This is just not a good album. This is Queensryche trying really, really hard to be a 90s rock band and fit in with, sort of the alty crowd, and just not doing a good job of it. Queensryche has very talented musicians, but this was not a direction they were suited for, apparently. Nothing about this album works very well for me. Tate's voice sounds okay, but he sounds very uninspired. The musicianship is very dull. The songwriting is just boring. Even the song titles are just kind of stupid. I don't even like even the cover. I don't like this pale blue and earth tone kind of cover scheme.
It looks like a fine day to exit by Anathema is what it kind of
looks like that Anathema album, and that's not one of my more favorite Anathema albums. It also looks a lot like Fate's Warning's X album, and that's probably my least favorite Fate's Warning album. So I don't know what it is, but if you want to make a bad heavy metal album, apparently you have to have like a blue and goldish brown cover, and you're well on your way. We can now prove that with 3 data points. So yeah, didn't hurt. Again, I was like $3 or $4, so no great loss here, but this is definitely going to go into the VCLT pile. Moving on to somebody else who maybe can enjoy it more than I did. Just not interesting to me. At this point, Queensryche had moved too far away from their own sound. They were trying way too hard to sound like what was popular at this point in the 90s, and it just didn't work, at least in my opinion. So a swing and a miss on this. I do not want to hear this particular Frontier again.
What is the name of that? The New Frontier?
Here in the New Frontier, but it's HEAR in the Now Frontier. Okay, here in the Now Frontier. So
well, if you look, that ear is in the front, so that is the front ear. I wonder if that was meant to be that way or what.
You got ears and jars, ears and jars, and laying around in the dirt. It really does all feel like a little bit. You're right, Marty. It actually does feel just kind of. Really, you're going for kind of dippy, mucky puns. This is the same band that wrote Operation Mindcrime less than 10 years earlier, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So some things went wrong here. Things went wrong. Oh well, it happens.
All right.
All right, Marty, show us something that doesn't suck.
Oh. Well, I don't know. Well, this doesn't suck. And after mentioning this the other day, I'm back on this album too. Jester Race, In Flames. Another earworm album. So a lot of atmosphere. The guitars sound damp. It seems like there's a lot of humidity on this record. And that's a weird way to describe it, I suppose, but I really like the production. It's really warm and organic. The melodies are so great. Earworm after earworm. It's just a well-written, perfect album. They were never this good again, as far as I'm concerned. I know some people like what they did after. I stopped after Clayman, I think. I don't know. They got poppier as they went, but this is a fantastic, fantastic melodic death metal record from Gothenburg, I think. Yeah, they're from Gothenburg.
Good stuff. Yep. Classic stuff.
Jurgen.
I listened to a lot of thrash metal because I'm still doing my thrash metal series. So I pulled out this little gem here.
I remember you talking about that the other night and saying how it wasn't, if it wasn't Destruction, you would like it better.
Yeah. I've shown a couple
Were you drunk when you said that?
No.
Okay.
Completely sober. And yeah, if it wasn't a Destruction album, I think it's really, really good. So, listening to Destruction, I pulled out that one again, Metal Discharge, because I haven't spun it in years.
Me either.
It's not really bad, but it's not really good.
Yeah.
For some reason, I like the sound on it because it sounds very natural, coming off the Peter Tegrin productions they had before. I really, really like the sound on it. The first two songs, they are killer. And if the album would go on like that, but after that, it's modern riffing and a lot of mid-tempo. So, yeah. I love Destruction, but this one, no, not so much.
All right. Alan.
Okay. This one came out in the past month or so and has gotten some chatter here and there in metal circles. One of my favorite bands in the new wave of traditional heavy metal group, Riot City, has a new album out called Electric Elite. And that right there, that's an album cover. Now that's what you want your heavy metal album to look like if it's 1983 all over again.
That Alpha Tiger sure gets around on album covers, doesn't it? Fucking horror. It's a horror tiger is what that is.
I believe it's the pet of the old man on all the old Fates Warning albums. So
could be.
Yeah.
You chewed off the ears off the Queensryche. You chewed them all off and put them in jars. Yeah.
Yes. I felt bad because when this dropped and I immediately put on the band's Bandcamp page that they really needed to release some shirts with the robot cheetah on it. And it turns out it's a jaguar. So, oops. Regardless.
Hey, your job is to study rocks, not fucking tigers or whatever.
I look at the animals when they're dead and there's just bones. Having skin and fur on them throws me off every time.
Very complicated when that happens.
Yeah, if you just had the skeleton to go, it'd be like the same subspecies.
Yeah.
But
nice kitty.
Robot kitty, laser kitty. So yeah, you could hate this band. You can hate everything about the new wave of traditional heavy metal, but you got to find some entertainment value in that shirt. You just got to. That's.
I got to pick that. I've been slacking on that.
It's a fun one and very good album. It starts off really a bit front heavy. Eye of the Jaguar. Yeah, see there. If I had read the track list, I would have known it was a fucking Jaguar. But yeah, Eye of the Jaguar is just a blistering opener. This is what you want every power speed metal album to sound like. It's just the perfect power speed metal song. And the rest of the album is very good too. It's all very fast paced, up tempo. They've got a new vocalist on this album, but he's not really that far afield from what they were doing vocally on the first album. So it's not like there's a major shift that you have to readjust to or anything. It's very good. They are very, very tight. A couple of folks, when we talked to Craig Zoller a couple of weeks ago, he was comparing it to sort of a new version, updated Hellstar. And yeah, they're very fast, very precise, great songs. For me, this is probably now the band at the forefront of the movement. I know other bands have more visibility, groups like Visigoth and Eternal Champion. I think Riot City is starting to lap the rest of the field, though. It's not going to be for everyone. That said, there are some folks who are really not interested in hearing a bunch of 20-year-olds pretend that they grew up in 1983 and never got out of that phase. If you only want to hear the old classics from back in the day, I get that. I really do. If these new bands don't interest you, I get that. What they're doing is, very, very vintage retro throwback-ish. Riot City just happens to do it extremely well, in my opinion. So if you've got room for spinning one of the newer bands and you like it very fast, very powerful, this is the one I would recommend. They don't go for the same epic vibe some of the other bands do. They don't go for the sword and sorcery kind of schlock. They just play very fast and very strong. So Riot City, big 2 thumbs up for that one.
Robot Kitty.
I love the first album, so I have to get that one as well.
It is a good one. I bought it. They put it on Bandcamp a couple weeks early, so I bought the download, and then when the physical copy came out, I bought that too. Because, that was a good use of money. I don't care. I'm glad to support the band. That one I don't mind having paid for twice.
Rick, this is a good time for an intervention. How many albums does that equal? I have every Haunt album. I'll stay quiet on this topic. How many albums is that? I see the guy's got like 4 albums a month.
Yeah.
He cranks them out.
Crazy. All right. Next
Maybe
up
one
for
day
me.
he'll make a good one. Oh,
dun, 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 dun.
I have no problem with Haunt.
Little bit of a non-metal swing here for me too, but this is aggressive enough where it could appeal to metalheads. Frontline Assembly's Caustic Grip. This is my favorite FLA album. It's aggressive, excellently composed, industrial. From Vancouver, same area as Skinny Puppy, and Bill Lieb was in Skinny Puppy for a hot minute early on. But anyway, this album, I don't know which one it is. This is another band that's got a million fucking records, but always been my favorite. I like the one after this one too, Tactical Neural Implant. That one's a good one as well, but super aggressive, very catchy. Could be metal, but unlike The Return, this is actually all keyboards. But they're played very aggressively, so it has an attack like it's, a non-metal metal song. Good stuff. Whole album's great. Love it. Spin it quite. It's a good driving record. Jurgen.
What about some Death Doom from the UK? So now, guess what's coming up?
Enchantment.
Right.
I still haven't got. I need to get this. I still haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, I did a trade with Mark. So he's got one of my LPs from the For Sale stack, and he sent me that one.
Nice.
This one is really, really good. It has, although they never were together in a room recording this, it sounds
Really?
very, very
Really?
alike.
They did it all in their own respective studios at home?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
The songs, as far as I know, every single track is from old demos that were supposed to be their second album in the mid-90s. So
cool.
Not really new tracks on here.
So are they going to continue on and play? Are they going to try to do shows and write a new album, or is this kind of like a clean the slate type of thing?
I think they're gonna stay together, but as Mark told me, they live apart. There's a great distance between them.
Ah, okay.
So they are doing it more or less online.
Huh. Right on.
I haven't asked him. I think they have never had a band practice since the old days in the 90s.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, but I have to ask him. So yeah, that's a really, really cool record. And I don't say that because I know Mark. I've been an Enchantment fan for years, and when I found out Mark was doing videos, I contacted him, and I sent him my old CD, the cover, and getting it signed.
Oh, nice. Cool.
So
Very
that's how we got together.
He's a nice guy. I like him quite a bit. We need to get him on one of these days too. And I know it's keeping the English folks up late. Not everyone's cut from the same cloth that Jurgen is. The night owl, the night stalker.
Yeah, I think Mark is a night owl as well.
Oh, really?
He's working in a hospital.
And
okay. He does a lot of night shifts, but he's very busy when he's got his 2 boys. And he's got different shifts to work. So maybe on Monday he starts at 2:00 in the afternoon. The next day he's gonna start at 10 by night.
Yeah.
So
maybe we can do something pre-recorded and post in the near future with him. We'll find a time slot that works better for his schedule.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Ellen, you are up next. Woo.
All right. This is something I had no idea this had come out. I wasn't looking for it at all. This is what happens, though, when you find 1 or 2 things from a seller on Discogs, and you figure, I should see what else they've got, and you just start scrolling, and then more and more things end up in your cart. But this one's actually pretty cool. I just had absolutely no idea it had been done. There's a 3 CD set out of Whiplash. All 3 of the Roadrunner Years albums are in one kind of big fat digipack of a thing. So yes, you get Power and Pain, you get Ticket to Mayhem, and Insult to Injury. It kind of just keeps folding out and out and out. There's a booklet. It's not the most extensive booklet, but it does, go over some of the band's history and stuff. I would have liked to be maybe a little bit more included to the booklet than there is, but whatever. You still get all 3 albums in their entirety. Whiplash, of course, is well known to folks watching this kind of show. The first 2 albums are absolutely amazing. The third one, I swear I'd heard it back in the day, but having played it here, it does not ring a bell at all. So maybe I am mistaken and I had never heard Insult to Injury, because it's pretty distinct from the other 2. They had a different vocalist with a much cleaner sound. And it feels like the band had also kind of let off the gas quite a bit on that album. It's not bad necessarily, but it's not nearly as kind of, raw and raging as the first 2 albums, which is what most people think of when they think of Whiplash. So nevertheless, kind of cool to just stumble into this and have all 3 albums in one handy dandy place. So yeah, didn't know it was out there. If other folks are interested in picking up some Whiplash material, some of the old original albums have gotten sadly very expensive. There is now a way to get the whole package for, this was like $20, $22 or something. Not very much at all to get good catalog with, at least, 2 classic albums, by a very underrated thrash band.
Right.
Insult to Injury is a really, really cool album. I love it.
Okay.
I've
never heard it.
It got trashed when it came out because it sounded so different. But just listen to the song Hiroshima. It's great.
Okay. Yeah, I need to play it some more because it just threw me for a loop because I was like, I swore I'd heard this album, but this doesn't sound. I didn't place it at all. So yeah, I'm going to have to give it a few more spins.
All right.
Speaking of interventions, we may have to help Aaron out with a few things here in the near future. Maybe nearer than we realized.
Very near. Very near.
Impact is imminent, kind of near.
All right.
Just a short note, Marty, have you ever heard, or Alan, have you ever heard the album Thrashback by Whiplash?
No,
was
that one I know I haven't heard.
I've
a
only got the
comeback-
first two.
comeback record. It has a couple of demo songs they didn't use for the first two albums,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's great. It's really, really, really good.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't avoided it for any reason. I've just never come across it. But I'll
Yeah,
keep it
it's
in mind now.
never stumbled in front of me for sure. All right. Somebody was mentioning about something about my rat fixation here. Well, yeah, I finally got this record on vinyl. Dancing Undercover. Love this record. I love it. If there was room, I would like a little picture of me maybe sandwiched in between here. You know, maybe looking at Stephen Piercy, you know, kind of like looking back at him. I don't know. But I love this record. It's, again, so catchy. And I just can't put these guys in the hair metal classification. They're just too hard rocky and too good at riffs. I don't know. I'm sure this will pass soon, but now that I've got the first four on vinyl, I'm kind of happy. I like the stuff that came after it, but it just the quality isn't the same. This is a great record. It's a lot of fun. It certainly looks like a glam record, but it's just a good hard rock record. I love it. Dance, good song. Slip of the Lip, good heavy sleazy song. Looking for Love's fun. It doesn't matter. God, a lot of good stuff on here. Great record. If you're not all, you know, uptight and you're, you know, metal diehard, give that one a spin. You might be surprised how much fun it is. Right, Jurgen?
If I had known that before that you haven't got it on vinyl, I would have sent you my copy in the last package.
Ah, wow. You did plenty. You did plenty in that last package. I'm still enjoying
Yeah,
it
yeah,
greatly.
but I would be glad to give that away.
Well, that's too bad because it's a fun one. It's a fun one. All right, you are up, sir.
Floodgate with the album Penalty. This is Kyle Thomas' band after he left Exorder. But
Oh.
he...
Yeah. Okay.
This album doesn't sound anything like Exorder or thrash metal. It's more of a rocking style that COC did a little bit later on after their hardcore days. I quite loved that record. I've seen the band supporting Sepultura in 1986 on their Roots tour, and there were about 4,000 people. And when Floodgate played, there were 20 people in the hall.
Oh my god, that is not good. That is a bad sign. 4,000 people.
I was one of them. So
Yeah.
I pulled out that tape because I had to play a couple of tapes in my living room because last week my girlfriend accidentally broke the needle of my record player.
Oh no. Oh no. Did any records die in the process?
No.
Okay, good. Sweet.
But that fucking needle costed 800 euros.
Oh.
That's a really nice needle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yikes.
We've talked about that before. I'm a little bit insane when it comes to audio equipment.
Yeah. You're always into replacing and upgrading, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to ask, does it make a big difference? Or is it a mental thing?
Combination of both.
Yeah.
To be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not investing into cables a lot. For example, there are connecting cables from CD player to the amp that costs 600 euros of 50 centimeters of cable.
Oof.
I'm not investing in that too much.
Right.
But record players, needles, yeah, you can definitely hear the difference. Yeah.
You can. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ryan with no mercy there.
No. I've talked to Metal Mickey about that. I don't know if that word in English exists. I was upset pretty fast and throwing stuff around and screaming Is there a word for it?
We call that seeing
Tantrum?
red, tantrum. That's
Yeah,
not it.
seeing red pretty fast. And last week I realized I'm not like that anymore.
Oh, right on.
I gave her a hug and said, okay, listen, we're gonna share the cost of that needle because it's mine and I use it, and it's gonna die anyway. So
Yeah. She say, no problem. How much I need to give you? 100 euro? I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
Apparently, there's a specific Australian phrase for it. Simon's giving us.
Yeah. That's an old phrase they used to say when he was in the church. You know, when
using
things
your
would
fucking shit, yeah.
using your fucking shit, yeah.
Ryan has this translation.
That's right. Goddamn right. It's American. Meltdown. Short-tempered.
Everyone's helping out here now. Yep. All right. The Heavy Metallurgy Thesaurus is brought to you this evening by Hannah Cartridges.
Yep. All right, Alan, you are up.
Okay. Since we kind of wandered into X-Hoarder and...
Brutal crowd tonight. You guys are no hearts.
they're just needling Jurgen a little bit. It's all fun.
Spank her with that rat record you were going to give me.
I'm not messing with that.
All right. You are
all
up.
right. Well, yeah, since we've kind of wandered a little bit into some Southern metal, I'll push this one to the front of the line. I was going to mention it anyway. Recent episode of the Radical Research podcast with Jeff Wagner and Hunter Ginn had talked a lot about whatever happened to Dax Riggs, the very talented and kind of unique vocalist from Acid Bath. I think most folks knew he did an album with a band called Agents of Oblivion after Acid Bath unfortunately had their career cut short. But I had no idea that Dax had went on to do some solo material after Agents folded pretty early on. And so I picked up some of that stuff. This is one of Dax's solo albums. It's got a funny title, so let me make sure I get this right. It's called We Sing of Only Blood or Love. It's put out on Fat Possum Records, which is a fabulous name for a record label from Mississippi. It's, if you like Dax Riggs' voice, this is great. It's still reasonably heavy. Now, this is not Acid Bath heavy whatsoever. There's no harsh vocals on here at all. It's his clean singing voice, which is very good. He's very emotive. As gets what am I trying to say here? Conveys a lot of different vibes with his voice. His lyrics, of course, are very unique. He's got this kind of very odd poetry thing going on. He's almost like a weird southern heavy metal version of Jim Morrison in terms of voice and songwriting style. But the music, it's kind of heavy, but I mean it's very much just rock music. It's not heavy metal of any particular genre. But it's still very, very good. If you really thought Dax was a pretty cool, unique talent and you liked his work with Acid Bath and Agents, these are worth tracking down. They weren't very expensive. And there's 2 or 3 albums that he did after the fact. There was one album that Radical Research recommended skipping because apparently he went through a brief phase of trying to emulate White Stripes, and they didn't recommend that was the best experience. But the other ones, they all spoke very highly of. The show, they actually play some complete songs, which is rare for them, but they have some old demo recordings that have never been released, so they're not under copyright. And so, yeah, if you're curious as to what Dax could do as a solo artist, go check out the Radical Research podcast episode, and then you can track down these albums if it sounds like something that's to your style. I always liked Riggs' voice and his weird lyrical sensibilities quite a lot, so I was really enthused to hear that. Wait, there's more material. I was putting these into my Discogs cart before the Radical Research episode was even over. I'm filling up the cart and was like, okay, before I click out, let's take a screenshot, let's email it over to Jeff, curse you, Wagner. You've cost me money once again. So to everybody in the chat who has fun telling me and Marty that we're costing you money, it happens to us too. I know how you feel. Jeff has done it to me a lot over the years. But,
Misery loves company.
The Dax album, this one, first one at least, is quite cool. Really enjoying it.
Sweet. Okay. I just got this record today and been listening to it a bit today. My buddy Austin sent this to me. I gotta make it a little bigger here. For Funerals to Come, Catatonia.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a 2011 Peaceville press. And the cool thing about this is side B has got Black Erotica, like a demos cover. It's like a different recording of it. And then Love of the Swan, which I had never heard this song. Apparently it was a track that was on a some comp. But it was cool to get this whole era, round out this era by getting all the songs they did on this record before they started to switch styles a bit. But there's some magic about this early Catatonia stuff. It's just really cool. It's super dark. It's like dark metal to me, but those lilting, guitar harmonies or melodies lines, they're very much Swedish melodic. I want to say death metal. It's not death metal, obviously, but it's got that feel, that style of melody. I don't know. I just really liked it. I mean, I've liked a few of the albums when they made the change too, but it's just not as good as this stuff. This stuff is just hits the right spot for me. What do you guys think? Catatonia, early Catatonia.
Catatonia is one of my girlfriend's favorite bands.
Really?
So we had tonight's decision playing, the one with Dan Strano on
drums. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good album.
Think that's their best. Yeah. Sounds a little bit like darker Life of Agony for some reason.
Huh. Okay. I never thought of that.
It has that melancholic feeling to it, like the second and third Life of Agony album.
I really like the one after that too. Last Fair Deal Gone Down. That's a really good record too. After that, I kind of stopped caring about them, but that record's really catchy too. The one after this, Brave Murder Day with Ackerfeld singing on it, is great too. I love that record as well. But this is really good shit. I dig it.
Yeah, I really love all the stuff up through and including Discouraged Ones. The early ones are great. Discouraged Ones, I thought, had a really good sound to it. After that, I started losing interest in stages. Each one that came out always felt like it was like half a step down from the previous one, and then another half step down. And so, I think Last Fair Deal Gone Down was the last one I actually checked out as well. I know I bought at least one or two after that, but it was when I would stumble into them used. I would play it a few times, be like, it's just it sounds like the same kind of thing. I always, in my mind, their career trajectory is a lot like Sentenced. Early on, they were doing some very interesting, cool, innovative stuff. And then they both got into this kind of, almost, very simple goth-inspired sound a little bit. That's not the best description of it, I know.
The Cure kind of entered their sound a little bit. And then they started putting out the same record every fucking time, which really
that's exactly what I was about to say. And then they just start making the same album over and over again. And doing it once would be okay, but when they started doing it once every 18 months, I wasn't interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, all the earlier stuff is absolutely great.
All right, Jurgen.
Wilson was talking about his cartridge in a comment. My new needle arrived today.
Ooh.
And that is an Orthophone Quintet Black. I love the Quintet series. Does that make me a QAnon?
I don't know, but your cartridge came in a specimen cup packaging. Very impressed. You sent in your piss test and you're done with it.
I can reuse it, yeah.
Yep.
So from hi-fi equipment to lo-fi death metal. Pieces
So good. The most scarring guitar tone ever. It's so abrasive. It's
Yes.
awesome.
Basically, this mini LP sounds like shit, but it's great. It's fucking great. I just love these 4 songs. They are so mean. It's probably the meanest Dismember album. And I haven't listened to death metal in quite a while, and
I haven't
this is
spun that one a long time either.
good.
Hmm.
Pull it out. It's a great album.
They haven't really put out a shitty record. They really haven't. There's been a couple of no, I mean, Massive Killing Capacity, that was a hard one for me. I still don't love it, but
I quite like it because they are trying to emulate the Wolverine Blues sound.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love Wolverine Blues. So yeah,
go ahead.
A couple of the new albums sound a little bit polished is the wrong word for a Dismember record, but a little bit too mechanical. Let's put it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember seeing an interview with Karki. It might have been on one of their DVDs. They would love to play some songs off of Pieces, but he can't remember the words, and he lost all the lyrics. And he was asking if anybody knows the lyrics to send them in to him so he could relearn them so they could play the songs again. Holy shit.
That is just a cheap excuse because Matti doesn't know the words to the other songs as well.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
A funny thing about Dismember's guitar sound, I've seen them so many times. I've been on tour with them. And the thing is, they can plug in their guitars in any amp. Even it's like a toaster, like that big. They've got their pedal.
HM2.
Yeah.
Yep.
All knobs
maxed.
turned to the max. And it always sounds great. Yep. I don't know how they do it. I've seen them literally play through a combo.
Right. That pedal, I've got one of them, and it's amazing. They just have that tone. No matter what you put it through, that sound is what comes out of it. That's amazing. It's amazing.
The funny thing about them is when they go on tour and it's longer than 3 weeks, they have 20 of them with them.
Because they fail.
Not only 2 for the guitars, they have plenty in stock because these things are very old.
Yep.
And they tend to break down. So,
well, look, the boss has started making them again. A different, the same gears in it with a different switch, but they're producing them again. There was an outcry for them apparently. So
we're talking about technical stuff again.
Yeah. But they don't come in a specimen cup, unfortunately. That's maybe maybe they'll figure that out eventually. Anyway, Alan. Hey, 96 people in the chat. It's good to see all you folks. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah, that's very cool. Hope folks are having a good time checking out what's spinning. Lots of folks have been mentioning what they've been listening to also, so it's cool to see what y'all have been posting in the chat this evening. I'm going to switch styles once again. I'm also kind of going back and forth between albums I'm digging and some that I'm not. Let's do a little new wave of British heavy metal. Rick Contreras from The Dreadful Minutes sent this to me a while back when he heard that I didn't actually own a copy of it. It's Savage's Loose and Lethal. Considered by a lot of folks, one of those kind of overlooked classics for the genre. And the album just never had stuck with me before. I had owned it in the past. I eventually traded it off. There's just always something about it that never quite clicked, but I hadn't heard it in a long time. So Rick was kind enough to send me a nice reissue of it. So I've sat and played with it for quite a while, given it a lot of spins, and I still just don't quite see what the big deal is. To folks who are big fans of this album, I'm sorry, but there's just better new wave of British heavy metal albums than this. Yes, it has one of the most fun album covers out there. This reissue is kind of a black and white on the sleeve. Get the disc out of the box and you can see it in color. A really fun cover art, The opening track, Let It Loose, is a ripper. It's a very good track. The problem is most of the songs after it are very mid-paced. Frank, there you are. I wondered if you were lurking out there.
He's calling you out. He's calling you out.
Yes. I was like, Frank's not been here for 2 hours. Maybe I can slip this by. Maybe he's watching TV tonight or something.
He's got an alert when new wave of British heavy metal is announced. It pops onto his phone.
Anyway. Yeah. He's got a bot that is scanning the audio for those particular little acronym every time. I'm sorry, Frank. It has a great guitar tone. Everyone talks about the guitar tone. Yes, it's a good guitar tone. It's not a good set of songs. It's just very average. And the real problem I always feel with this album is that it's very mid-paced. It's very, very pacey material. Other than Let It Loose and maybe a couple of moments here and there, they never let it loose. They just kind of play at this mid-tempo. It always feels like they're holding back. It's just like, just speed up a little bit. Just make me want to bang my head, not nod my head. This is a nod my head, that kind of album. It's not a banger. It's not terrible. I'm not saying it's shit. I'm just saying that I don't really get the hype. It's Savage were on Ebony. Ebony cranked out a lot of very similar sounding stuff. If I want something with the Ebony sound, I'm going to take Chateau over this all day. Chateau, much worse band name. Some of the cover art, I like the cover art on the second one, Firepower, but that's a band that would really wind it up and let it go on some of their tracks. They had some pacey ones, but they did some blistering tunes on some of those Chateau albums. Savage just isn't savage enough for me. It's one of those things, I guess I'm listening to it wrong. I'm wanting it to be something it's just not, but I just can't get into what it is. It's an average album for me. Rick, thank you very, very much for sending it. I don't mean to kind of crap, on the VCLT love.
Send better gifts, dummy.
I'm glad. I'm really glad I spent some more time with it and gave it a more thorough listening because it'd been a long time since I had it. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's exactly as I remember it, and it's just not powerful enough to quite make muster for me. It's cool, but I don't think it's the gem that a lot of people do. But hey, that is just my opinion. Frank knows a lot more new wave of British heavy metal than I do, and a lot of people would agree with him that this album's fantastic. So hey, if you're undecided, go dial it up on YouTube or something, check it out for yourself, and see what you think. I think I am very much in a minority and not enjoying this album nearly as much as other fans. But I'll just have to sit in that tiny rowboat by myself.
All right. The guys from Got Junk are behind Alan hauling the collection away right now.
They can take the Savage if they want it. I'm not going to fight them over that one. I'm holding on to the edge of the Chateau Firepower album, though. They're going to have to pry that one loose.
All right. Well, me and a buddy went down to Grand Rapids this past weekend to Vertigo Music, which is the best record store I've ever been in. It's so good. Bunch of used vinyl. I picked up a couple things and quite surprised to see this one. Branded and Exiled. This is the BMG Noise reissue. And this is, of the early Running Wild, the one I've spun the least. I like it, but it is not as good as Gates to Purgatory. The songs are way better on Gates to Purgatory. This strikes me as a very transitional record, good or bad. And part of this is I'm just not super familiar with the songs yet. I've always had a CDR of this one, so it's good to finally grab it, and I do like it. You can tell they're starting to change a little bit from the debut. The debut is just has a simple presentation, but it's so catchy and heavy in its own weird way. This is a little bit more advanced. Ralph's vocals are okay on this one. I think the change needed to happen. I think they really realized what their potential was when they started doing the pirate stuff, but which was coming hot on the heels of this record. But this is really good. I'm glad to get it. I snagged it for $19.99. Pretty psyched to get it. And my
Awesome.
Running Wild collection is damn near complete. Good shit.
It is. I love that album.
I need to spend more time with it, but I really love Gates to Purgatory. I've always loved that record.
Oh yeah, that one's great too. That one, Brandon X out, it has this very weird, dark, kind of muffled production that gives it this very, very underground vibe. And it just works with those songs for some reason. Most albums with that production, you'd think, that's a shitty production. But somehow with those particular songs, it just makes them sound even cooler. I've always liked that one a lot. It's not one of the more well-loved albums in Running Wild's discography, but I love that album.
Yeah, me too. I love that album. Like you said, just before the sound, just because of the sound. Nowadays, I think you might call it cavernous.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah, that's a very good way to describe it.
Yep.
That was the very first Running Wild album I heard. The debut album, Gates to Purgatory, sounds like nothing else in the discography, and Branded and Exiled, nothing else sounds. These two albums stand alone, even though they are different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm replying to the chat. You're up, Mr. Jurgen. Bert.
Okay, let's move to Germany for some melodic doom metal. This is Funeral Fuck.
Okay.
This is a project. The album is called Carnal Confessions. It's a concept album about priests raping little boys. Not a very nice theme, but the album rules. It's a melodic doom, but it's not up-tempo. Nothing up-tempo on here. It's really, really, really slow. Great vocals. They try to stay anonymous, but I'm gonna blow the whistle right now. Are you familiar with death doom metalers Office from Germany?
Mm-mm.
These are the guys from Office. So.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
My girlfriend's gonna see them tomorrow. They are playing with Candlemass.
All right.
Oh.
Someone mentioned that the Candlemass just dropped a new album today.
Yes, they did.
They are going to play around the corner tomorrow.
Around the corner. God, wouldn't that be nice?
I'm not going.
Why?
Because I'm done with concerts. I am. It's as simple as that. And that has nothing to do with COVID. Nothing.
When the glorious dead comes and plays Nuremberg, if you don't show up, I'm coming over and dragging your ass down the street.
Yeah, I'm coming after the show to pick you up and bring you here.
Okay. Well, we can make that work. All right. Sir Alan.
I gotta say, for the record, I haven't heard of Funeral Fuck before, but typing them up over here on the archives, there are 3 different bands with the name Funeral Fuck listed on Metal Archives. I would not have guessed that.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, there's some slightly different.
Fuck are spelled F-U-K-K.
Yes, yeah. There's a Funeral Fuck from Italy, and then there's a Funeral Fuck with the umlauts over the U from Mexico, and then we have Funeral Fuck with 2 Ks from Germany. So everyone is at least spelling it differently, but nevertheless, we have 3 bands that came up with that name somehow.
Good stuff.
That's a thing.
That's
harder and harder to find an original name, I guess. Speaking of weird names, this is another one. This I forgot. I had one more in the stack from the collection of extreme stuff that's been showing up in one of the local stores lately. This was a band I heard somewhere in the past. I want to say it was probably like on one of the Banger Metal Monthly videos or something like that, where people were just talking about like new up and coming bands or new releases. And then they stuck out for two reasons. One, the name was really weird. And two, the band was from a really weird place. The weird place being North Dakota, where there's not a whole lot of anything except for oil derricks and wind turbines. And I'm not even sure who runs them because I'm not sure anybody lives there. Except apparently some of these guys in Ghost Bath. Don't know how they came up with that name. Didn't realize ghosts needed to take a bath. I can't imagine a bath like made out of ghosts or having a haunted bathtub. None of this makes sense, so we're just going to gloss over it and move on. Anyway, it was one of those names. It's like, that's a weird name, and I don't think I've ever heard of a band from North Dakota, so I remembered it. And digging through this pile of CDs somebody had sold back, I was just like, what the heck is that one? Oh yeah, Ghost Bath. I know that name. Well, hell, the pile's already pretty big. Just add it to the pile. Let's see what it is. I didn't really expect much from it, to be honest. And when I looked it up on Metal Archives, this thing has like an average rating of 37% or something. It's ranked pretty low. And the reviews, the long and short of it, everybody basically says like it's a knockoff of Death Heaven, which I've heard a little bit of, but I don't know much about. Having played this, though, it's actually not bad. In that same kind of shoegazy post-black metal style. I really like his vocals on it. He does a very good job getting these really tortured shrieks for the black metal aspect of the vocals. The music, I can see where it's a little cleaner, brighter sound than might be what some folks are looking for in the style. It's not got quite as much atmosphere, but it is good. And it spent a good solid week in the CD player, so it works pretty well. There are several instrumental tracks on here. If that bothers folks, just buy or take note. Didn't really throw me off, though. The songs have a good mix of styles. It doesn't spend too much time on the black metal part. It doesn't spend too much time on the shoegazy part. So, yeah, it actually turned out to be a decent blind buy here. It's not as good as the Alcest album, but I'm not at all sorry I bought it, and I'll come across another one. I'd probably be willing to pick it up if it was also in the used bin. So, yeah, goofy band name, goofy band location, and I think it's much better than the 29% drubbing that it's taking on Metal Archives. You always got to take Metal Archive reviews with a grain of salt. It's always worth remembering there are some weird reviews with very skewed perceptions on there that can drag the rating either way down. In this case, I've seen some lately too that have dragged the rating way, way up from where I think most folks would put it. But, yep, one more thing from the collection. I still got a big pile of that stuff to go through in the weeks to come.
All right.
All right, Marty. What you got next, sir?
Same trip. I always had a promo CD of this and always liked this record. Well, this mini LP, I guess. So now I got it on vinyl finally. $20 used. Super scathing, mayhem. It's good. It's weird. Maniac's vocals was kind of an adjustment for me. I can't say, I listen to a lot of Grand Declaration of War these days, but this was a good surprise when it came out. I was surprised at how harsh, kind of unrelenting they maintained, that mayhem sound, but somehow made it faster, and it sounds like the tape was sped up. The way the guitars are tuned, everything just seems so high strung and caustic. I don't know. It's very cool. Kind of wish this was full length. What's that?
I've got a tip for you. Play it on 33.
Really? I think I did that. But yeah, I was quite surprised to find that in a used bin. Again, that's record store is the best store. I love it. All right, Jurgen.
Yeah.
So you brought up Halloween earlier. Halloween is probably your favorite band. My favorite band is Voivod, so I had to bring up some Voivod stuff.
Voivod's up there for me too. I got a lot of favorite bands.
Nutty Face. This is the re-release that only came out in the US on Record Store Day. I would never have thought about getting one of those, but Darcy, again, was nice enough to get these for me, and he sent it to me.
Yeah,
And I didn't ask for them. He just did it just out of pure kindness.
Yep. Good dude.
So, thank you again, Darcy.
He's out with the missus tonight, so he isn't watching. He's being a good husband.
Good for them taking some time.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Allen.
Back to me. Okay. For whatever reason, Mark II era Deep Purple CDs have also been showing up locally. Not the same person selling the Ghost Bath and the Rotting Christ, I don't think. But for $5 a piece, I'll pick these things up too. Been playing Fireball lately. This one's kind of a head scratcher. It's the second one in the Mark II era. It comes after the excellent In Rock album, which I showed maybe the last time we did a What's Spinning type episode. And, that album is really good, almost start to finish. Fireball is an odd one. It's got some great tunes on it, but it also goes off in a lot of weird tangent directions. It's like they couldn't sit down and focus or something. The title track is classic.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of all of our favorite, heavy metal performers from the 1980s, this was their start. Just one quick example. First album that a certain young King Diamond bought. Right, here you go. This is the one that got him started on the path. So yeah, amazing title track. You have Strange Kind of Woman is really, really good. But some of these other songs just go in very odd directions. They get very bluesy or a little funky or just kind of eclectic on stuff like Anyone's Daughter. The closer, No One Came. Should have mentioned that one. That's also, though, pretty good. Has a little bit longer form to it. But yeah, for every song on here that seems really great, there's also a song on here that kind of makes you feel like, what made you put that on the album? It's not that all the songs stink. It's just a really mixed bag of stuff. What's Aaron got to say about it here? He likes side two. No. Sorry, Aaron. We can't be friends anymore. That statement's just wrong. Every word in that sentence is wrong. It's not
You must be talking about a Sun Ra record.
He's got a... So, Aaron, first off, you're playing the wrong side. And second, it's the wrong album. So you're just completely backwards right now. But yeah, again, this is...
He says, God damn, I'm triggered right now. You need to go to your safe space, Aaron. Safe space.
No, can't. Aaron and I like a lot of the same stuff, but we don't see eye to eye on this one. Some good tunes scattered on here, but this album's all over the board. If you want to hear Deep Purple try some different experiments on some tracks, this one is one to give a good solid listening to. But otherwise, you get it for the title track, and you add the title track to your playlist, and you don't really have to worry about a lot of the album too much out beyond that. So, yep, Fireball not going to make my top of the Mark II albums. It might be better than the fourth one, but that's a conversation for another time.
Alrighty then. I've been trying to like this album, this mini LP, a little more than I am, but this new holder, I can't read that fucking font. Something Fanfare. I don't know. This, I really liked her last full-length album. I thought it was a really solid black metal record. Her early stuff was decent. The debut full-length was really mature, really good. This sounds like she's kind of switching off into more of a crusty, I don't want to say black metal. There's a little bit of death coming in here a little bit, which is kind of interesting for the fact that she was going to go on tour with Exhumed and, pretty extensive tours. I guess, playing with those bands a bunch and getting out and playing, your sound's going to harden and change a little bit. And it isn't the fact that the sound changed a bit. It's just the fact that the songs are kind of boring. This album is just, there's only what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs on here. This could just be a stopgap until they, get going on the new album, but it's just kind of boring to me. I don't know. I need to spend a little more time with it. It's okay, but I had to try it. I really like the last album quite a bit. So, you guys know how it is. Once you find a band you like something by, you start buying all their shit, whether it's good or not. Like Dark Throne, for instance.
If I am not careful, I will do that. I've gotten better about not doing it over the years, but
I'm trying to break the habit, but I still do it. All right, Jurgen.
Okay, my next choice is Narcotic Greed with the album Fatal. This is a Japanese thrash metal band from the mid-90s. And I love this album. I haven't tracked down the original vinyl, but I don't know if there's a vinyl release, but this is a Dive Bomb reissue that came with demos. It reminds me a little bit of Forbidden because the vocals are pretty melodic. And if you call yourself a thrash metal fan, do check that out.
What's the name of the band again?
Narcotic Greed.
Okay.
Don't know that one.
It's got the Alpha Tiger on there, and he's got a friend.
Yeah.
Beta Tiger.
Yep.
There you go.
Alpha and Beta Tiger. Yep.
The back cover has the Delta and Gamma Tigers. There they are.
There they are. There they are.
This CD comes with their 1992 demo, and it's great as well. I love that album. I discovered it about a year or a year and a half ago, and still spinning it.
Right. It's amazing. All the years I've listened to this shit, I'm still missing things.
It's not dusty at all.
Just blow it off. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right. Alan.
All right. Jumping once again. Completely different part of the music spectrum. Immolation, Here and After. Doesn't need much of an introduction. Really good album. And this is one I overlooked when it came out, simply because by this point in the 90s, I was getting pretty sick and tired of death metal. It had dominated the local scene where I was at. There wasn't much of a scene. There was a college radio station. Yeah, some people would bring some stuff into the CD store. And there was just so much death metal for years and years and years that by the time this was coming out, I'm just like, that's interesting looking, and I don't care. There's just too much of it. So I didn't come around on this band until much, much, much later. I recently picked this one up. This was another one of those cases where I'm already buying 3 things from the person on Discogs. Oh, they've got that too. Add it to that damn cart. But yeah, excellent album. One thing I really like that they do on this one, and they're pretty good at it in general, but it really shows through on this album. They are able to make their sounds kind of proggy, but they're not playing a proggy style whatsoever. Just the way they're able to, and again, I don't know all the right terminology. I'm not a musician, but whether they're just bending the strings a little bit here and there, or shifting the time signatures a little bit here and there, it makes it feel like a very kind of contorted album that's going through a lot of progressive elements. But when you actually stop and listen, it's like, no, this is actually relatively simple and straightforward. They're just very good at doing some interesting things with the music. In terms of lyrics, Immolation albums always feel a little bit interchangeable. Religion's bad. Politics is bad. The man is bad. We got the message. Well, it's bad. But a really good set of songs on here. Really like some of the slower parts in particular. They get very crushingly heavy when they slow it down. They've always been good at writing very memorable songs by death metal standards, which is one of the reasons that, I've grown a much greater appreciation for Immolation over the years. So yeah, cool album, and definitely glad this one did get thrown in the cart at the last minute.
Good album.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, so people in the VC. There's another band. This is another band that people really kind of praise quite a bit. And I guess I need some guidance on this band because I don't know if this is the album for me, but Tourniquet. I can't read the damn Stop the Bleeding. You know, if you like King Diamond, maybe you should check out Tourniquet for that more positive message. You know, this would have been in the book, in the Christian bookstore with that sticker on it. But you know, there's some King Diamondisms on here vocally, especially, maybe a little bit musically, but not as good. It's pretty solid. It's got a thrash feel. It's got some metal, some trad metal going on, and I haven't spun this a ton because it's just not. It just feels wrong to me. Is there? I mean, either you guys in the Tourniquet, is there a better album than this that would maybe seal the deal for me? Very Megadeth-ish. That, yep, Zachary, that's in there too.
Yeah, I used to have a few other albums. I'm looking at the list right now. Psychosurgery is I liked better than that one. Pathogenic Ocular Dissonance was all right. So maybe I don't know if either of those albums is that much better than Stop the Bleeding, that it's going to turn you around on the band.
Okay, good to know, because I'm not gonna.
I wouldn't run out and track more stuff down by them hoping for a drastic change. For me, they were always a very kind of borderline band. Didn't mind them, but they never really wowed me either. Those were some I got rid of a long time ago and hadn't thought of in ages.
Yep, that's kind of where I'm at, I think, on this band. I don't need to pursue.
Yeah, they were one of those bands. Again, I had some friends that were very much into the Christian metal circles, and for them, yes, this was one of those proof that a Christian band could be just as good as the non-Christian bands. And just like, there might be some, but that's
Believer was one of them. I always liked
Believer could get very good.
Extraction from Mortality was a great record. The first two Mortification records were good.
Deliverance did some good thrash albums.
Paramecium did a good doom record here and there.
Yeah. Tourniquet. Yeah, and I'm not saying the Tourniquet albums, they weren't awful at all. I mean, I owned 3 of them at one point, but yeah, at the end of the day, not the best either.
Not today, Jesus. Not today. All right, Jurgen. I've got 2 more guys. Where are you guys at?
I have 2 also.
Right on.
Okay. I've got a lot more, but
well, you can run through some. I mean, you don't have to do just one. Do a handful of them if you want.
Okay, let's talk about this little gem. I didn't know about the band until Mike Metal Mickey did a video about Dark Heresy.
That video made me very curious about that record.
Yeah, it's strange, but it's very, very cool death metal. A little bit different twist on the 90s scene. This is a reissue, and I couldn't get it in Germany, so Mike was kind enough to send it to me. Their vocalist, Kola Kautze, was a writer for a fanzine. Marty, are you familiar with the Eastern fanzine from Finland?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Then I recommend this book. It's got all the Eastern fanzines.
I've only had 2 issues ever, and they were great. Very sardonic, kind of look on things and humor, but it made it kind of cool,
And this is an awesome book, almost 800 pages of old school, early 90s death metal, black metal, thrash metal, stuff like that. The Dark Heresy, do try and check it out. I think you'll like it.
Got to. You know what? I'm gonna start a list right now because I will forget. Dark. I don't have paper. Fuck. Fuck. Anyway, remind me, Alan.
All right. We've got one last non-metal one. This one, yep, just showed up in the used bin. Always kind of liked the band, but had never actually picked up the Cult's Ceremony album. Cult albums often sound a little different from one another. Sonic Temple is the one that I've had the longest and played the most. And Sonic Temple is kind of like the heavy metal album. Ceremony, on first impression, seems to be the bluesy album, which so far I'm not completely sold on it. I like Ian Ashbury's voice a lot. He still sounds fine here. I'm not sold on an entire album of them leaning into the blues side of things more than the rock side of things. It's not terrible. I haven't, thrown it away screaming or anything, but it feels it's fine. It's in kind of an average-ish record so far. There are other Cult albums that definitely would rank higher than this one too. So not sure where it's going to fall in their discography. Maybe it will grow on me a little bit. I may just not be quite in the right mood for something like this right now. As folks can probably tell from the stuff I've been showing, I've been a little bit all over the board in the past couple of weeks, but I have been steering more towards the extreme side of things than not. So maybe I need to come back to this at a different time. Not terrible, but yeah, this seems to be their blues record, and that may not be quite the right Cult for me. We'll see.
All right. Remember how I've mentioned a few times throughout this stream that I have a problem. When I find a couple CDs by a band I like, I go crazy and I buy everything I can find. Well, this band has a sister band or a brother band, and between the two of them, I've tried to buy up all their shit, and I still have like 6 of their CDs sitting in shrink wrap that I've had for months. But I pulled this out and was spinning this. Rhapsody's Dawn of Victory. Dawn of Victory.
Okay.
This is super symphonic Italian power metal. They have characters in the band. Oh, wait, this isn't the one with the wizard, is it? Oh, God, I hope so. I remember getting this as a promo back in the day, and they had a guy dressed up in a goblin mask.
Yes, they did.
There he is. He's the keyboard player. Look at that shit. You got a fucking wizard, a goblin wizard in your band. Bet you Repent never had that, Jurgen.
No.
Glorious Dead doesn't either, but we're working at it. We got our feelers out, but super cheesy, neoclassical, super shreddy power metal, and I love it. It's fun. Do I need all the CDs I bought by them? I don't, because they have another band called Rhapsody of Fire. This band splintered into 2 different bands, Rhapsody and Rhapsody of Fire, and Luca Turilli's Rhapsody, and it's just, apparently they just couldn't get along. I don't know what the deal is, but both of them are good. I'm rarely in the mood for this stuff lately. There was a time where I was going crazy for it, but right now it was kind of fun to spin this, though. It's super ridiculous, and that's why I love it. Super fun.
Yeah. If you're in the mood for that kind of cheesy, very schlocky fantasy power metal, Rhapsody's fine at it. I got very tired of them very early on. After a couple of albums, it's another example of a band just kind of making the same album over and over and doing it pretty frequently, which didn't feel necessary. The one that really broke me, there's a song on their second album where there's this long spoken interlude where the guy's literally like almost crying into the microphone, where he's telling this part of the story about how somebody has slain his dearly beloved steed, the magical dragon, and it's just like and oh, my poor dragon, he was so faithful, and he has fallen upon the black sword of the evil wizard. I'm just like, Oh, shut the fuck up already. This is too much.
Sword is metaphor for penis, by the way.
This is just
in case you were wondering. I'm just gonna make that very clear for you.
I'm just like, you know what? Bring that Stradivarius dolphin back around. I've heard too much about this goddamn dead dragon. We're done with this album.
But they've got a fucking goblin wizard, Alan. What do you got? What do you got over there? Nothing.
I had an outfit for last night's project that's going to have to be pushed back for a while.
We'll wait.
I've got an outfit.
We're good.
Got an outfit. Philip, if you're watching, I had an outfit.
We will see the outfit soon enough.
Probably too soon. Whenever it happens, it would be 5 years from now. It will be too soon.
All right, Jurgen.
I have not slayed my dragon. She's sleeping upstairs.
Well, the night is still young.
I guess my sword is not that deadly, huh?
No, your steel is not true. Yep.
Okay.
Jurgen, before you go dragon slaying, remember, sheath that sword, dude. You don't want any little daggers running around. I mean, unless you're ready for that. I'm just saying, plan appropriately. Got to plan that adventure quest.
I'm gonna cry about that tomorrow in my next video. So
you roll a 0 on your defense, and next thing you know.
Okay, what about some Death Breath, Stinking Up the Night?
That's a fun record.
I love it. It's so primitive
record.
And it's so memorable. Great songs, great singers on the album. They've got Scott Carlson from Repulsion, and Jurgen does some vocals, who was on the first two, not me, on the first two Grave albums. I just love this shit. If you have not listened to Death Breath, do it. Both of these are readily available. Again, the Let It Stink EP is great. And if you want to check out Death Breath, there's a video clip. Has anybody of you guys seen that?
Long time ago. Like the video.
It's so hilarious, and the song is awesome. And there's a high shriek in the middle of that song that is done by Dismember drummer Fred Espy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's
I
the
haven't
guest
spun that in a while.
I had not thought of that in ages. That's cool.
Great.
Go ahead and show a couple more, Jurgen. You've got a bunch more there, and I'm circling around on my last one. So go ahead and pop off a bunch.
Okay. I spun a little bit of God Dethroned.
I haven't spun that in a long time either. Since it came out, I would bet. Been a long time.
Blasphemy is a hit album. The Serpent King, Nocturnal, Boiling Blood. Great songs. And Ravenous as well.
Mm-hmm.
These two albums are killer. The rest of their catalog is good, but nothing special. I did spin a little bit of Czech prog rock. This is Modrý Effekt, sung in Czech, with Czech lyrics. Great stuff. So, okay, after that, I've got one left, and then I'm done.
Okay. Alan is next.
All right. Just sending something over to the chat real quick. So, yeah, for last one, this also did come out of the collection stack that I've been pilfering. So, whoever out there keeps selling all their used extreme metal stuff here locally, keep them coming. I've still got a little money left, but I've been meaning to give this album another chance for a long time, and since it was sitting there in the used bin, I figured this was the time. It is Emperor's Anthems to the Welkin. This is an album I've no doubts that is they're very talented songwriters, very gifted. I've taken nothing away from them whatsoever on that. I've always had some issues with this album, even going back to when it came out. I bought it probably not the day it came out. I can't imagine the local store had it the day it was released, but I got it as soon as it came out, as soon as I could order it and pick it up from somewhere. And I played it a ton, and it was good, but it never fully clicked. I was not wowed by it, and certainly not the way most folks were. This is an album people could not shut up about upon release. It was everyone's, album of the year, album of the last 5 years, best thing out of Norway ever, best album of the 90s ever. The accolades just kept gushing out from everywhere. And I was always like, is it really that good? I'm just not hearing it.
It's no Benediction's Spheres or whatever the fuck it's called. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, I shifted it long ago and hadn't come back around to it since then. But it was always one that's like, I should go back and revisit that at some point. And so now I have. I've given it some spins. It is definitely better than I remembered. The songs are good. It's the songwriting chops and stuff are there. I do still have a bit of an issue with it, even though I do like it better than I used to. There are some things about it that just don't quite measure up, and this maybe is just that I have always really liked Nightside Eclipse, and this isn't quite the same as Nightside Eclipse.
Oh.
Two things I'll point out. There's lots of spoken clean vocals on here, and every time they do that, it really starts to feel like a Borknagar album all of a sudden. The clean vocals to me really remind me of Borknagar's stuff for some reason. I don't mind Borknagar at all, but it just doesn't feel quite right for an Emperor album. And again, it's something that they really didn't do on Nightside much. The other thing is the music in the background in a lot of places. Yes, it's fast. Yes, it's intense. But it's just kind of blazing away. There are stretches where they go that there's not a whole lot of riff structure, or if there is, it's so buried in the mix, it's hard to pick stuff out. The drumming's very intense, but a lot of times it just kind of keeps hammering straight ahead. It's not always clever or interesting or intricate. It's just like, let's just sound fierce. The album wants to sound very, very fierce, but also kind of grand at the same time. And I feel like sometimes the balance isn't quite there. Again, I've enjoyed it more. It'll stay on the shelf, by which I mean I'm not going to get rid of it or anything. Yeah, but I don't think it's the masterpiece that some folks make it out. And I see some folks in the chat have this one in high regard too. That's absolutely cool if y'all dig it a lot more than I do. I like it more. I'm glad I've given it another chance. This for me probably is going to be like in that B minus kind of range where I like it, but I think it's got some obvious issues that don't fully sell me on the album. I think this album, having been there when it came out and remembering just the ungodly hype it got, I think it's an album that was in the right place at the right time. Black metal was still getting a footing, especially in the United States. In other places, it had probably already been well established and everybody knew it. A lot of areas in the U.S. didn't have a lot of exposure to black metal until right there around 97 when this and Dimmu Borgir started getting a lot of attention. And at this point, Emperor was just primed to get all the attention. Nobody knew what the fuck was going to happen with Mayhem. Burzum obviously was completely sidelined. Darkthrone, was still plugging along, but just didn't seem to get the same attention. Immortal was never one of the big four, so they were, number 5 at best. But, with Emperor, pulling things together and then, getting on the big label and having this huge, media push, for this album, huge promotional push. It was the right album. Everybody was looking for the black metal album to just completely win over a fan base. And between this, Cradle and Dimmu Borgir, this keyboard-driven black metal triumvirate just really, it caught on and made a huge impact on folks. That's okay. I'm not talking shit about any of those albums. I'm just saying I think Emperor was in the right place at the right time and had an album out when none of those other bands had a high profile release that, you know, everybody could focus on and make, you know, here it is. Here's the standard bearer moving forward that we've all been looking for. That is my take on anthems.
When I talked to Isan during that era, we were talking about songwriting a little bit, and he said there were some of the songs had at one point like 15 synth layers.
Jeez.
I'm just like, oh my God, that's too much. I mean, I love the record. I love it. I was one of those people that shit their pants over it. I mean, I love Nightside. I prefer that album because that's the end of their cult era.
Yeah, and I guess I just like that era a little bit.
Yeah, the songs are catchier. They're not as anthems. There's just so much shit going on. It's very advanced, but still somehow clings to some sanity enough to have the song stick. Like with Strength I Burn, there's like a key change towards the end of that song. It's just amazing. Great key change right at the right time. It just they seem to know how to do these things. From there, Emperor started to lose me. I love anthems so much. 9 Equilibrium started to become the Isan hour. You know, the prog started to seep in, which is good. It's fine. I just stopped caring a bit, I guess. What'd you think about those, Jurgen?
I have to admit something. Anthems is my favorite black metal album of all time.
It's a great record.
Quite okay. Several folks in the chat have been saying that, they think it's a flawless album. And that's very cool that folks dig it. For me, it's a flawed album, but that's just a matter of, that's my opinion. And I'm used to not having the most popular opinion on some stuff.
I saw them a couple of years at a festival, and they didn't announce it before, but they started playing the whole album. And after they were finished playing, I just had to sit down. I was so exhausted.
Oh yeah.
Not by moving, not by getting drunk, just staring at the stage and listening to the whole album played live.
Wow.
I was simply exhausted after that.
Yeah, that volume, I'm sure, was an ass beating. It was almost like Razor came down and grabbed a hold of you and kicked your ass.
And Marty, I agree. Like with Nightside's a much more evil sounding album.
Yeah.
And that was, Nightside was also one of the earlier black metal albums I got to hear and get into. So this being a very good album, has, a lot of strong points. It just is not an evil sounding album to me. And maybe it just boils down to that. They just got a little different, it's going for a different attitude. It's going for that, big sort of, grandiose, self-affirming kind of thing. And it lost the evil quality, and maybe that's where it loses me a little.
Okay. I guess I'm going to end with this.
Keep on talking for a moment because I have to go to the toilet.
Right on. Crack in the Sky, a tribute to William J. Samus from Warlord. Oh. Ben sent me this, thought I'd like it, and he was exactly right. This is a fantastic tribute album. A bunch of songs on here. A lot I've never heard of.
I saw this somewhere recently. Must have been on just some distro. Who's all on that?
You got Mirror, Sumerlands, Stray Gods, Twisted Tower Dire doing Mrs. Victoria, Claymorian, 70,000 Sorrows, Eternal Champion doing Stygian Passage, Aryan Path, Forsaken, Firewolf, Steel Shock, Solitary Sabrid, Wotan, Reflection, Galaxy, Comet Rider, and Socrates Lepios. I don't know. 90% of these bands I've never heard of, but they all do a very fine job on the songs. There isn't a bad cover on here, really.
Cool.
And it's really a shame that this band wasn't more prolific, because he had a good style. He had a really good style, an excellent ear for melody, and writing really good songs. would have liked to hear a lot more from this band, but Warlord were great, and this is a really fun tribute. If you all check it out, it is available on Bandcamp through the Pitch Black Records Bandcamp page. Good stuff. All right, Jurgen, you had one more.
Yeah, my last pick may be a little bit unpopular, but I'm gonna reveal my favorite Death Angel album. And no, it's not the Ultraviolence, and no, it's not Act 3. My favorite Death Angel album is their comeback album, The Art of Dying.
I have not heard that one.
Because I just love every single track on it. It got slacked when it came out a little bit. I never understood why. Just listen to the first 3 songs, Thrown to the Wolf, 5 Steps to Freedom, and Thicker Than Blood. It's just what you want to hear from Death Angel, in my opinion.
They were always, of the Bay Area, the most unique of the bands, I thought.
Yeah,
Mark's vocals were so melodious, and he could scream. His screams were really killer. I don't know. I always loved it. I always liked that band. Very good band.
What I like about that album, it has a lot of songs on it, but it never gets boring because when the album moves on, they've got the drummer singing a little bit and the guitar player singing a little bit. And I recently listened to the debut album by The Organization, the band.
The funky
Death
one?
Angel minus,
Yep.
Death Angel minus Mark, yeah.
Yep, yeah, Falafel was just mentioning that one in the chat.
Yeah. The first Organization album is great. The second one, not so much, but yeah. That's how I came back to that one.
So, let me ask you, you like the Organization, the funk stuff. What about Mordred? I've got Fool's Game. I like 90% of that record. Oops, sorry, Alan.
You're fine.
I think Mike is the one that was saying how good the one after it is. I just found it hard to believe, but maybe you were saying it too. It's a good one, huh?
Yeah. In This Life is such a unique record, and it's such a great record. I'm not very much into that early 90s funk metal thing. Basically, I hated most of it. But In This Life, the second Mordred album is so fucking unique. I've never heard anything sounding like that. It's in some way it's got a thrashier riffing than the first one, but on the other hand, it's funkier. It's hard to describe. It's just a unique record.
Huh. And with that, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just try In This Life. Great fucking record.
Yeah, Mordred put out an album last year.
Oh, did not know that.
I've never heard that.
Huh. Well then, we made it through the end. Had a great time. These are always fun. Jurgen, it's always great to see you, my friend. Always great. Always great to have you around. Thank you for joining us. And remember, folks, 37 years old, well, yesterday now, depending on where you're at in the world, but absolute classic. And go get yourself some new armor.
Yep. The new shirt is over there at the Bind Room store right now. Great job by Justin from Vesteban's Blood Box on the artwork. Really, really cool. Came out looking absolutely fantastic. And Marty's got a lot of other new stuff over there in the Bind Room shop as well. Some new distro items to check out.
Pre-orders for a new Panopticon shirt and the third pressing of And Again Into the Light is live, and a bunch of other new stuff. New things coming soon. We've got Kentucky's 10-year anniversary repress is going into the plant soon, along with Falls of Raros, A Light That Dwells in Rotten Wood.
Oh,
we're gonna be putting out Nachachwin's Canal Black on cassette, along with And Again Into the Light, and that on CD as well. New albums coming by Eve and The Glorious Dead. This is the artwork for the new Glorious Dead album, done by Nate Burns. Cemetery Paths is the name of the album.
Nice.
Hopefully I'll dig it. The artwork turned out fucking amazing.
Yes, it did.
But yeah,
But the music will be shit.
probably. Probably. We probably won't be coming to Nuremberg anytime soon. Yeah, but with that, thank you everybody for hanging out with us tonight. We had a good crowd tonight. You all seem to like these what's playing, and come Wednesday we've got the album club. We're talking about this album, Frontal Assault with Hazardous to All. It's an EP apparently, but it was sent in for us to review, so we're going to review it for them.
Mm-hmm.
And big things coming. We're going to be doing some cool stuff hopefully in the next coming year, so stay tuned. And the newly anointed Heavy Metallurgy channel finally pulled the trigger on it, and rest in peace, Marty Worm. But
some folks have asked in the chat, but yes, Marty still intends to do some of his VCLT type videos and other things too. So he'll still have other content on the channel too. By all means, it'll
be its own little playlist, but it'll probably be pretty few and far between, because this channel, the stuff me and Alan are doing, and the other guys are, it's going to take precedence. So we'll just keep rolling, and go check out Jurgen's channel, Albert Ampel.
Mm-hmm.
The link is in the description. Please go subscribe. He does great work. He is on day 18 of his favorite thrash albums, or thrash albums he's listening to, I should say. But either way, he's showing a lot of fucking classics and very good stuff. And thank you one and all. Is there anything anybody wants to add before we pull the plug? Pull the plug.
Thank you for having me on, and my mumbling and stumbling German English.
Your English is better than mine. So don't sweat it. It's always perfect.
Probably Aaron's German is better than mine. So
Ampel is traffic light. Is that true?
Yes.
All right, on. So there's a meaning.
The name has no meaning. It's just my second identity. When I'm really, really drunk and I'm really, really stoned, I become Albert Ampel.
I thought it was from Ample Destruction.
No. Ampel means Ampel means traffic lights here.
So
things that make you go
destruction of traffic lights?
Doesn't want to incriminate himself here, but
I'm not going to talk about that.
All right, everybody. Cheers. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend, and we will see you soon.
Peace.
And remember, dead dragons are less metal than live dolphins. Dolphins finally got off the bottom rung, so we accomplished something tonight.
And sword is actually penis in the metal world, just so you know.
And
okay.
Chicken.
Chicken's still higher than dolphin or dead dragon.
Cheers, everybody.